You are smarter than you think you actually are. Now, we all have brains, we think a lot, and we get out of situations. And no, I'm not talking about just, getting good grades and knowing how to do math or reading a bunch of books and learning philosophy, science, studying about the globe, the world, organizations, presidents, governments, systems, all of that stuff. No, 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 no. I'm talking about a different kind of intelligence. Now, now, because intelligence can show up in sort of a way that you can solve problems, the way you think ahead, the way you recognize patterns that other people don't notice, the way you can walk into a situation, understand what's happening, and figure out how to get yourself out without making the situation worse. That's intelligence. That's, that's real stuff, because in some situations, you watch those YouTube videos and they're all like 190, 200 IQ, 300 IQ move, and they have it on the videos there, and then they place it, and then it's famous because those people actually got in those situations and they figured out a way to get the heck out of there. So, when your life is on the line, the adrenaline is flowing. Oh my gosh. It's the adrenaline to think properly. Sorry, y'all. The words. The energy to think straight in a very intense situation that is continuing to intensify. It's very, very rogue. So, um, and hey, maybe you're good at science. Maybe you're good at philosophy. Maybe you're naturally good with numbers. Maybe you can figure out puzzles, escape rooms, combinations, or complicated problems without somebody having to show you. Or you can figure out everything on your own because you are just a master at being clever. Those type of people are very interesting because they know how to get out of this stuff with nothing. They do it because they don't have to get out of it. They do it because in their brains, they activate this mode where they break down the little things first to get to the bigger problem, or so they can see the bigger picture, and then that's how they solve these problems, because you break the problem down into chunks and bits and pieces, and then that's how you find what's real. You find the truth. That is intelligence, my friends. And here's something that people don't even talk about enough, and sometimes being a deep thinker, for all my overthinkers out there, that junk can feel like a curse, man, because you might overthink everything. You might replay conversations in your head, memories, moments on, oh, why you messed up? Oh, how did I mess up? Why did I say this? Why did I do that? Why did she do this? Why did he do that? Why did they say such and such to me about me that day? And then you went back home and then you went to sleep. And then you thought about it and was like, no, I'm going to try to kill them the next day. Stuff like that happens. I mean, but not to say you would actually kill someone the next day, but come on now. Nothing wrong with that, because I'm a deep thinker myself, but I'm not saying I'd kill anyone. At least not yet. Yeah, okay. All right, y'all, let's get right back into it. So, like, sometimes, man, like you might think about what could happen tomorrow, next week, or 5 years from now in your life, and you might constantly calculate different outcomes before you even make a decision in your head, before you even did something or went to an event, before you even do any sort of activity. You're already thinking what's about to happen. You're probably either thinking about losing or winning or gaining something out of the situation or whatever's arising. You're anticipating so hard that you don't even have to anticipate. So you're building up so much pressure and tension in yourself, all because of possibilities, which we will get into another video, y'all, because I'm just as an overthinker as the rest of the overthinkers in this entire world of about 9.2 billion people, I think. I'm not even sure if we reached 9 billion, but I think last time I looked at it, we were at 8 point something. But I mean, shoot, I don't know, man. It could be something way bigger now because it's been a while since I checked. So, and and sometimes you guys like, I'm telling you, like, people will like look at you and say, "Why do you think so much? Why are you thinking? Why?" Because I have to think. Like, why else would I be able to say the words that I need to say? I have to think about the words before I say it. That's why you think before you speak, right? Of course, we know that, right? We're smart enough to know that. But of course, what you don't understand is that your brain is constantly trying to understand itself of what's coming next ahead of the future, so you can have that intuition, that mental intuition for the physical world to know obviously what's going to occur. So in reality, physicality, however you say it, so in physical reality, you will already know what's coming because you already calculated in your head what's going to happen possibly. But that's, life can go anywhere. It's unexpected. That's why life is unexpected. You don't know where it's going to go, but it's going somewhere. And that's okay, because you don't have to know today. You don't have to know tonight. You don't have to know next year. All you have to do is just live and find out down the road. And it's good because you're thinking ahead. But now that doesn't mean that every thought you have is actually gonna be right. Now, some of them are gonna be wrong. Some of them are gonna be miscalculated, and sometimes we make mistakes, and that's okay. That's where intelligence gets complicated because you can calculate something perfectly in your head, convince yourself that you understand exactly how it's going to happen. Not exactly when, but how it's going to happen. Because when you do that, you create a scenario in that possibility within several possibilities that you're probably thinking about in the back of your mind. But one possibility that increases the chances of the outcome of that actually happening. So you think that, right? And then boom, reality happens. And then reality doesn't even care about your calculations because reality is the word itself. Something unexpected happens. Someone reacts differently than you thought. The situation becomes bigger than you imagined. And suddenly you're realizing, oh damn, I thought I had this all figured out. Nah, man. No, you didn't. You really didn't, man. And that's the part that kind of sucks, but that's not proof that you're stupid though. That's just proof that you're human and you're thinking. You're thinking of situations constantly over and over again, and you ponder on the thought of, if this did happen, or I thought I did this right. It's like thinking about your password or a password you always know in the back of your mind, right? Let's just say you're typing like this, right? That one password that you type constantly, repetitively, every day when you get on a laptop, computer device, you log in with the same password, correct? Now, some days your intelligence might go out, and then you misclick or you miss something, and oh shoot, you make a mistake. But that's okay. That's just proof that you're human, okay? And being intelligent, it doesn't mean predicting everything perfectly in your mind, because a mind is not perfect unless you practice. Um, a lot of times people's minds think they're very perfect, especially the ones that are truthful. Sometimes they speak blasphemy or lies and just say some complete random stuff. Y'all, you have to be yourself. Be your own advocate. Find your own intelligence. And if people just don't agree with you or they don't they don't come across as, great people, or people who can't be on the same level as you. Then those type of people have their own knowledge. That's their opinions, because the game isn't fair. I said this before. The game is not fair. Everyone has different opinions, preferences, tastes, different things. And it's always going to remain like that for the rest of however much time we have left on this earth. However much. Because y'all, I'm telling you, it sucks. Because that just makes the world unfair, and the world evil and good. Because good versus evil always clashes. You have people who are actually truthful to themselves. They speak the truth and they want peace. And then you have people who are thinking that they're predicting everything, and they're smarter, or their minds think they're so clear and crystal and pure, when really it's lies, and it's really impure. So what else? Yeah. So it also means that you'll be able to recognize when you were wrong, and learn from it, adapt, and try again. We make mistakes. We make a lot of mistakes, just doing things that we think are calculated, but they're really not. And you might do something, and it won't be right because you thought it would be right, and then that's okay. That, like I said, we make mistakes, and then we correct ourselves. After we said something, we correct ourselves mid-sentence or mid-problem. Oh, maybe I should have never said that. Or, you correct the way you say words so it won't hurt others around you. And then people will think, or take offense. Sorry. See, I had to correct myself just like that. So it's stuff like that. Like, things like that, you correct yourself and what you're saying so you can make sure it makes sense and is pure knowledge from the brain. So you're saying the right things to people without being not exactly wrong. And that's why I think a lot of intelligent people, they don't even realize they're intelligent too. Most people who are really smart, they don't even realize it, right? They get out of stuff, they get out of a lot of situations and relationships and dire situations where even their life is on the line. And they're so focused on what they don't know that they forgot how much they already understand. So if you're someone out there who really thinks deeply, if you're constantly curious, see, that's a tongue twister. Constantly curious. If you're a person who just absolutely loves learning, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you solve problems differently, if you notice things that other people don't, if you're always asking why, when, what, where, how it happened, and what could happen at the same time, hey, maybe you shouldn't be asking yourself, am I smart? Because maybe you should be asking, what kind of intelligence do I have? Because there could be different types of intelligence. Because intelligence doesn't always look like a genius sitting in the classroom, being the greatest teacher's pet, and being honored for their charisma and grades and beauty, I guess, of the mind. So sometimes it just looks like someone sitting alone thinking about the world differently than everyone around them. And maybe you've been underestimating your own mind this entire time. because you're smarter than you think you are. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. So, how smart do you think you are? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's TGV Vlogs. And I didn't say it in the beginning, but I'm super sorry. But I'll see you guys in the next video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.